Can they see this live?
I've just pressed record. No, it's not live.
They see this live now, but
no, it's not live. No, it's YouTube. We upload it to YouTube and to.
But you can edit it and everything like that.
Yeah, we can edit you out.
Good, right? Let's start then.
Yeah, we can edit. We can bleep it. We can. Okay, starting in. God help us. 3, 2, 1. Hi there, everyone. Welcome to That Karate Podcast. This is our first one. I'd like to. My name's Liam.
I thought I was coming to me last.
What does that mean?
Let's try that again. I'm not editing this out. Right, this is our first one, folks. Okay, this is our first one, and you need to get the idea. We're absolute idiots.
I thought you were coming to me last.
You just need to. We'll try that again. Ready? Let's be professional. Okay, pull yourselves together, boys.
Right. So who you going?
Shut up. Welcome to. Oh God. Welcome to That Karate Podcast. This is our very first one. My name's Liam.
And I'm Sean.
And I'm Mark.
Well, that went better than I expected. They're only second take, lads. Yeah, so we decided that to kind of set up a kind of podcast about something a bit different. We chat hours every week, talk absolute nonsense to each other. We thought we'd share this with the world. Probably the end of our careers, but the finish of our karate careers. And every week we're going to have maybe a different topic, something else something to discuss. Some interviews, we get some cool interviews lined up, and maybe some reviews. And we can also any kind of events or courses, because as we're coming out of COVID, we've got courses and comps coming up. We can do a wee shout out for anybody out there as well to kind of get that going. We want this to be a positive thing. We want to have fun doing this. We're not particularly reverent. There'll be no senses or she hands between ourselves. Anyone we interview will be very polite too, because they can beat us up. But between ourselves, no chance. So we thought we'd kind of introduce ourselves first today. So I'm going to go to Mark first. So Mark, just a brief outline. How long you've been training? What got you started, and what keeps you going?
So I started about just over 20 years ago. For me, starting, the reason why was I was bullied at school. And it was just, that's really what got me into karate, really. I'm just trying to start.
Just carry on.
Yeah, so I've been doing karate for 20 years. I was really badly bullied at school. And my mum and dad were looking through the paper, and they've decided they wanted to get me into some sort of physical contact, like a martial arts. And we just picked one out of the paper, and I joined, and I stuck at it. And for me, I just get so many positives from karate, and that's it really. Yeah. So this is hard.
That's it. Sean, what about you? What got you into training? What's kept you training as well?
Yeah, so kind of started a little bit similar to Mark. I wasn't potentially bullied, but when I grew up, we stayed in a big circle of houses, so there was always people out playing football and all different things, but we were just always kind of picked on with the older kids. So my dad just wanted to toughen me up. So we were at swimming one day in the leisure centre, and we seen the karate in the badminton court, and my dad said, "You want to give it a go?" And we gave it a go, and that was 23 years ago. So for me, karate is just it's life for us at the moment. It's keeps us going. Something different every day. And I've enjoyed the competing aspect. I've enjoyed having to learning. Every day is a learning day for me when it comes to karate. So yeah, and it's something that we can do as a family. My daughter's training, my wife was training before. I've done karate for a while with my little brother as well. And obviously knowing you guys for more than 15 years now.
Too long.
Too long. So yeah.
Not much longer after this.
So yeah, it's been good kind of doing it with the kind of camaraderie you get with it. Training.
Is that what we have, camaraderie?
Camaraderie, yeah. It's hard enough to say that. Yeah, so it's karate is more than just a sport or just a martial art to me, to be honest.
What about you, Liam?
Well, I started training in 1984. I'm literally the granddad of the group, aren't I?
Before we were born.
Shut up. So yeah, I wasn't well as a kid. I had quite a severe health issue at the time. I was a chronic acute asthmatic, but I was like ill with it. So I was in and out of York Hill Hospital in Glasgow. Literally, at one point I was in for 7 months. I was in an oxygen tent and all sorts. It was not good. And I went to Ward 6B, which was the cardiovascular unit. And my doctor, just it was pure fluke. My doctor was a black belt in karate, the doctor in that ward. And what he suggested was that I started a sport. Now, my mum was like, at that time I couldn't run after a ball without. I wanted to play football, but it was like, and over I'd fall. Is he okay? Why is he purple? And he said, listen, karate, although there's training in it, there's cardiovascular in it, you'll build your strength in your body first, and then your kind of cardiovascular system will click in afterwards. And it was just as the Karate Kid phase, so those people my age will kind of, I never actually saw it at cinema, I didn't see it 2 years after, but it was just when the kind of Karate Kid was kicking off. And I begged and pleaded with my mum and my dad, and they were like, are you crazy? You know, you're in hospital all the time. But eventually they let me in, they let me go, and I was hooked. I was absolutely hooked, and I've just kept going. It's the only thing I say any good at, but it's the only thing I've really kind of clicked with in that kind of side of things, and that's kind of what's kept me going. So that's
how long ago was that now? 30?
Shut up. It was 10 minutes.
I heard he said it was in the 60s when I saw it.
God, why have you got to be so mean? Right, so I just moisturise. If you're on YouTube, you can see how youthful I look.
Yeah.
Shut up. So, right, so that's kind of a brief outline. We didn't want to go into real details today, did we? We've done this and we've done that, because there's people out there that have done more or done less, and I don't think that's what we want to really discuss today. We just wanted to introduce ourselves, didn't we, and get it out there, and hopefully people would be interested. Most have probably turned off by now and logged off or skipped forward on YouTube. Obviously, the big thing we've kind of dealt with over the last, the world has dealt with over the last kind of 13, 14 months has been dealing with and adapting to the COVID pandemic. Now, all three of us run schools, run dojos, all run successful dojos. At least they were before COVID. Used to be successful dojos. So I was kind of interested today to kind of find out how you adapted, what were you kind of picked up from it, what new skill sets you may have learned through coaching and teaching through COVID, because we've obviously all three of us have kept going, and what you've learned from it essentially. Has it been in what ways has it been positive? When the negatives are obvious, and by all means, let's talk about the negatives, maybe sharing that with other instructors out there and other people, they'll understand they're not alone in that, but also the positives we can take from that. So I'll go to Sean first with that one. So Sean, what's that?
So
it's subject for you.
So obviously the world's dealing with kind of the pandemic, and for me, my wife continued to work. She works for the NHS, so she's continued to go into the office every day. So she wasn't really working from home. Kids were at home from school, so it was a big shock. It was a big shock to go back next week. Woohoo! So it was a big kind of shock to the system. But at first, to be honest, we enjoyed it. That first 2 weeks, actually, my wife was home because she was transitioning between jobs. But it was almost like a holiday for us. 2 weeks at home together. After the 2 weeks, it was quickly get back to work and back to school. But with regards to kind of the actual club and teaching, it's really made us think outside the box. You know, you think when you're teaching face to face and you have that interaction with the students, to try and pass that on over a camera is very, very difficult. So we kind of try to do lots of different things, but kind of adapting the classes online. And for us, it was just to keep that routine going for our guys. You know, it was something that they never had. Every club stopped, whether they're doing football or swimming or dancing. 99.9% of the clubs stopped. We know some clubs that actually are not going to start back, I think, unfortunately. So it was just about keeping the routine. We kept almost the same schedule, and we worked together. We ran courses together. We had over 100 sometimes training. And we kind of
record was almost 2, was it not? I think our record was almost 2.
It was over 200 one, so over 200, which is a feat.
That was scary.
Try to teach in front of 200 people on a camera. yeah, but it's been fun. We've run quiz nights, we've run game days, we've done fortnight game days, we've done challenges to help kind of fundraise and stuff as well. And it was just to try and keep that normality as much as possible. And when it is so difficult for families and keeping the club going, it's just keeping the classes running. We've obviously had spates that kind of been outdoor, we've had kind of spates that have been indoor, and back to online again. So yeah, it is just a matter of kind of keeping going and keeping that routine and keeping people interacted and engaged for us anyway, for myself anyway.
Well done. I mean, for me, pretty much the same as Sean. My dojo, we was teaching, started in 2019 December, and then obviously we had the Christmas holidays, and then we started up in January 2020. And we heard this COVID thing in the background, but we didn't take too much notice of it. And then in March we had to be locked down, and we then turned on to doing online sessions. And I remember starting it in my living room, and it just didn't work for me because I've got a little 2-year-old. He was upstairs with my wife banging on the ceiling. Then I was doing some stretches, and then the cat was attacking my foot. So it just didn't work at the beginning. So for me, what I do was I converted the garage. I just sort of changed it into sort of like a virtual dojo. It's just a better looking background for me to teach in. And yeah, like Sean, we've done the quiz nights, we've done bingo, and we just try to keep everyone together as best we can. It's been tough. It's been really, really tough, but we managed to do it. And it was just, we was doing it online, and then it was back in the dojo with all these restrictions, then back in online again, and it was just up and down all the time like a roller coaster. You didn't know where you were coming and going, but yeah, it's just been really, really tough. Just really, really tough. But now, well, last night was my first session back, shall I say, still with loads of restrictions and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just been a crazy few months. And with regards to the online sessions, it's a completely different teaching altogether. I mean, first of all, one thing that shocked me was how hard they were. I mean, you've really physically got to be fit. I mean, when you're teaching normally in a normal class, you can sort of talk to your students, show a few moves, give them a drill, and then walk around and assist, bending the knee and making sure that they're doing everything that they should be doing.
They'll bring somebody up to do the demonstration for you.
Yeah, that's it. But with it now, like I say, it's just you and the camera. So, if you make a mistake, they're all going to see. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. Like I say, especially trying to teach kata online. Everyone's in a different room. Some of them are in their kitchen, conservatories. In the summer, they're in their garden. So you're having to say to little Timmy or Sarah, like, no, face the stairs, no, the back window. So, yeah, it's just been mental. But I don't know. But what about you, Liam?
The same as you guys. I think when it started, there was a sense of camaraderie. I think everybody was like, right, we're in this together. So they certainly lockdown one. And I do this as professionally. Again, depending who you talk to, the professional I actually am. I know Sean's the same. So you're selfishly, your first instinct is my livelihood's gone. How am I going to eat? And then we kind of had to construct a way to try and move on. So if you'd asked me a year before that about doing classes on Zoom, no chance. I would never have even dreamt of doing it. I think you guys are maybe the same. It never crossed my mind. But I think with the kind of sense of camaraderie at the start with certainly the membership, because as Sean said, there was so many clubs just had to down tools. So the kind of positive was, and I think we know Paul G at the JKS Scotland, and something he says is that what we do is actually okay for Zoom. People play badminton or play football or those kind of things. They didn't have for ping pong, doing that in Zoom isn't an option, So at least we could transfer that skill set across. But I certainly found it difficult at the start. Do you remember the beginning when nobody knew how to work Zoom?
Yeah.
And then, if you're lucky enough to have a membership of like 200 students or whatever, and you've got every single parent messaging you, I can't log in. How does this work? Where's the code? Do I need to upload? That was a nightmare. That was.
It was just Sorry. For me, it was just trying to make sure everybody was on mute, and then figuring out how to make sure it can't come off mute. Because you can just hear the TV in the background, or the mother or father shouting dinner time, and so it was just trying to make sure everybody was on mute and they had a camera on, or whether.
Sorry, Sean. The thing for me that I found was when I was teaching, the class would be running, then all of a sudden, 45 minutes later, it would just cut out and kick me off the meeting. And I was trying to work out why was this happening? Why was I only having 45 minutes, and it was just kicking me off? And obviously with Zoom, if you have the basic Zoom, you only get 45 minutes. So having to up the packages so that you can have more students on there, and obviously for it to go longer. But yeah, it's mad. Yeah, sorry.
I haven't seen your technical ability setting up for today's podcast, mate. I'm surprised you ever managed to get it sorted. I was really upset we didn't record that bit as you were wheeling in your extension cord.
But there's no plug sockets here anyway, so
it was brilliant.
Well, question for you guys: do you think that it's made you a better instructor, or do you think that your classes have kind of suffered, or how do you feel as an instructor teaching across? How do you think you've kind of handled that as an instructor? Obviously, as a kind of running of a club, or as a parent, you can understand. But from an instructor's point of view, how do you feel that your teaching has evolved or got worse? It depends how you feel.
Do you want to go first, Liam, or?
We'll go to Liam first.
No, you go, Mark. You go.
I was speaking to another instructor, and I think they said the same thing as what I'm going to say is, when you're an instructor, you don't really have like a you time. You're always teaching students, and you don't really get yourself like your own sort of personal training. And what I've definitely noticed with myself is that I've spent a little bit more time on myself with regards to stretching, and just because you're having to actually demonstrate the techniques, essentially you are doing the class as well. So yeah, I mean, personally, I feel a lot fitter than I have done before. But yeah, I've definitely felt that I'm fittest that I have been in a long time with it all, because it is, 2-3 hours a night every day. It is tiring. I mean, at the beginning I was just like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but we did. So what about you boys?
Yeah, I was kind of the same. Obviously, as you kindly pointed out, I'm a few years older, so
a few.
I'd shut up. I don't feel like an old man quite yet. I think, well, obviously my team kept me going, but I think mentally I found it worse than I did physically as time went on. I think, as you say, with the personal training, although we were lucky we had access to extra training and extra from like Japan, etc. within our group, we were able to get that kind of support. So I was able to do more training than I normally would, because I think we all know this as instructors with lives outside the club as well. It's not always easy to get your own personal training in.
Yeah.
So I think when I was teaching online, I started thinking, right, this is my personal training as well. So there was things I developed and there was drills I worked on. But I found some of it really difficult. I found it, as I say, psychologically quite wearing, especially as doing it as a profession. Obviously, I mean, my membership took a massive hit. Membership is income, that's a reality. And also it's people you've built a relationship with over a period of years I've kind of stepped out. So I found that more difficult than I did the kind of training and coaching, if that makes sense. I found the Zoom, I find teaching easy. I don't mean I'm good at it. I just mean I personally find it easy to do. What I found difficult was the other bits. They kind of, does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. But yeah, I mean, I felt we were being waterboarded at one point because we were open, we were closed, we were lit up for a bit of air, then we were shut again, and then there was threats of closing, and then the adults weren't allowed into train, and then this one, and that was the toughest bit of the whole thing for me.
Yeah.
That for me personally, and as I say, I think this last lockdown's been certainly up in Scotland. I don't know how you felt down in England. This last one's been rough.
Yeah, I mean, this last lockdown has just been a different beast altogether, I feel. I mean, I've spoke to so many different parents every week speaking about little Timmy, little Sarah. You know, they're struggling with their motivation. And
Who's this Timmy and Sarah he keeps talking about? Does he even?
well, I'm just referring because I'm not allowed to mention names of my students. So little Timmy, little Sarah. Yeah. So yeah. But yeah, we've just been. It's just been really difficult for everyone, and like you said, they're mentally draining. Yeah, I mean, it's just been so tough. Just the first one, was really tough. The second one, again, tougher. But this one, it's just knocked the wind out of our sails. But I don't know. I mean, Sean, what about you?
Yeah, I'm the same kind of mentality. It's a bit harder, just try to keep the club going, and I would have never thought that I would run quiz nights and fortnight game days and bingo nights, But it's been really good, because you're engaging with your kind of students and your parents a different way that you normally wouldn't, to be honest. But for me, as Mark said, he started teaching in his living room, and I'm still teaching from my living room. So my wife's dying to get me out so she can finish living, because the carpet is just wrecked, just moving back and forth. So she's wanting to get that living room back. You know what it's like I've got 2 kids, so you're putting them upstairs. The wife's coming home from work and they're not getting access to downstairs, But it's been teaching wise. I think, as you said, it's made my karate better, fitter as well. And you kind of pick up on points that you think you need to work on, and then you're translating that into your class as well. So I've never been having a job in teaching as well. Obviously, the last year and a half, 2 years ago, I went kind of full time, but you've never had time to do training. It was teaching, and that was it. So
especially you guys, I'm a bit different. I've my watch has ended. My daughter's up and out, but you guys have got young families and trying to balance. I can't imagine, honestly, balancing what you guys have done with the kind of the stresses and pressures of having a young family in the house, plus doing that. That must have been really challenging. I mean, I didn't have to deal with that. As I say, my daughter's up and out now, but
I think, it's been tough. I'm really lucky that I've got an amazing wife, and she's very supportive with the whole karate thing. And I think it's a case of that if I didn't do anything, then I wouldn't have the students that I have with me now.
Yeah.
And I sort of, as being like the instructor, sort of felt like that, as the sort of the person in charge, you've got to sort of just, get on with it. You've got to say to yourself, you're going to be tough, but we've all got that, should we say, the fighting spirit within us, and it's almost like that. You've just got to go, right, let's take this head on and deal with it. And yeah, I mean, we've all been through it. It's been really, really, really tough on us and our students and on the dojo. But it's just been really, really tough. And I mean, we spoke about what we've done in the dojo, in our for me, for my garage, and Sean in your living room, and Liam, and you obviously made a little facility in your dojo. We did have a brief time where we actually did have students back. I mean, how did you boys find that sort of training, and how did you find that?
I found it. See, suddenly it was weird. Suddenly having people back in the room. I know you were dying to get your students back, and we're obviously back very shortly. So you were I can't wait to get students back in the room. But suddenly you're like, there's people here, because obviously I'd had the dojo to teach out of. I was really lucky I had the dojo to teach out of, so I wasn't kicking walls, Sean.
I've not seen that
picture. All vacuum cleaners.
Need to get that up on the page, because Sean does that. Sean really helped. He did a lot, just to kind of give you background here. He did a lot of the challenges, and he kind of sorted all that stuff out. And there's one where Sean does a rotating roundhouse kick. Now, I hope you don't mind me saying this, Sean. Kicking's not necessarily your bag.
Getting kicked, I'm very good at.
Yeah. I'm not, and I mean that way. I mean, no disrespect out of this. We've all got our skill sets. But Sean absolutely blasts the corner of the wall and basically smashes his. Was it your big toe to pieces? It looked like something.
Could we not tag that video onto the back?
We need to get that up, because I watched it for about an hour.
We should
play it framed or something. Yeah.
His daughter Ola shrieks out, "Well done, Daddy!" as he blasts the wall. It was just, you couldn't time it better. It was perfection. But getting students back in was great to get them back in. Obviously, there's challenges, like we had a booking system in place for track and trace. Your class sizes are limited. You are very conscious that you don't want to be I mean, I spent a fortune at the dojo getting the place kind of COVID compliant and, you know, getting bits and bobs into place and putting the systems into place for us to be open 4 months out of 13. But once they were in, and then as we were allowed to, the kids were allowed to, obviously we've got some really good athletes that love to fight and love to spar, and they couldn't do that. So, but as that slowly unlocked, it was great. And then, but we knew that last lockdown was coming, didn't we? You could see it. You could see it coming October, November, that it was coming.
No, I think it was fine. I think, I don't know about yourself, but I feel as the students have stayed with us. I feel when I'm face to face again, I feel as if they all kind of together. You know, when we done our first outdoor end of March there, and they all just kind of clicked right back in because they're training together online. And as you said, Mark, before, they're going through this together. You know, it is that kind of camaraderie. Also, we talk. You say weekly, but we do daily. We talk for hours. It's just.
I talk to you boys more than I talk to my wife, I think. So that's what she said.
But yeah, I feel as if the members who have been with us and guys who have joined us during lockdown, that they've definitely enjoyed their karate more, or I feel a bigger passion for it because of the kind of circumstances. And I feel that the guys that are with us now will be with us for a long time because they really get karate and they get what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
As you said, Liam, it wasn't just a matter of that 1 hour we're teaching. You know, it was the 20 minutes before setting up, the hour during the day setting up the Zoom classes and the calls. And I don't know about you, but I'm constantly trying to come up with kind of class plans to make sure you're not doing the same class again. You know.
I found it difficult towards the end. I'm finding it difficult towards the end because obviously what we do, there's an element of repetition. That's how you build a skill set, isn't it? But some of the classes are like Groundhog Day. You know, you're like, did I do this one last week? 6 months ago. You're trying to kind of do that, but I think you're right regarding the students that have stayed on. I mean, I'm very lucky. The bulk of my students have stayed with the dojo, which has been amazing. But, you know, as you say, I can joke with my guys, if you quit now at the end of a pandemic when you've been training 3-4 hours a week, I don't even know what to say to you, you know. What about you, Mark?
Well, we had a brief time when we could go back, but again, we had to have so many things in place. You know, you had to temperature checks, hand sanitizer. They had all their like discs on the floor that they had to train. There had to be certain numbers that we could have in the room. They had to be spaced out, and the sessions almost felt like a Zumba style sort of session because the good thing about karate is you can conduct a class all together in the same way. So if you're moving, you know, if you want everyone to move forward, they move forward. If you want to move backwards, left or right, that's the good thing. But for my style of teaching, it's just completely alien to what I'm used to. I mean, I love kumite. I love them doing contact work. But
we know.
But
I've been with you twice, mate. I know.
But yeah, I mean, you know, they've got to come in one way, come out, all the doors and windows have got to be open, and this is in the winter, you know. So yeah, it's just been really weird, just a really, really weird thing. But touching on what you boys just said there, you know, our students have been amazing. It's just been amazing, and you know, for them putting up with what we have to do, and like you just said there, Liam, you know, you're running out of things to do, and you're like, oh, did we do that like 2 weeks ago? And it was that, and like with us, you know, over the lockdowns, and we've really come together, and we've sort of said, well, Sean, what are you doing this tonight, and Liam, what are you doing? And we've sort of managed to bounce ideas off each other and stuff like that. And yeah, like I say, we're on the back end of it. Just hopefully it's onwards and upwards. But question for both of you actually really is, see, I did have the little ones, 4 to 6 year olds. Obviously, because of COVID, it was not really viable for me to continue, and it just weren't from my dojo. I mean, I only had a few. I mean, but I know you gents have got an awful lot of young ones. I think you're the wee ninjas, I think you call them, and Ninja Turtles or something like that, isn't it, Sean, for you?
Yeah, that's right.
So I just wanted to know, how was that for you, for you both? Because
on YouTube, you can see my face right now. Sean, do you want to take that?
Yeah, so again, as Liam said earlier, we love teaching. You know, for us, As you find something you love, it's not a job, is it? It's everything else in the background that's a job to us, you know, the teaching part and seeing the students progress and see them get, Liam calls it that light bulb moment, you know, when they get that, like when they just get a move or a kata or a combination. For me, that's something that I've always loved, part of teaching. So when you're face to face with the younger members, you can create that atmosphere that makes a big difference in your class. You know, you can play games and do other kind of pad work and stuff, but online, all of that goes out the window, doesn't it? So for me, I was just adapting the classes and having young kids, it was a bit easier, just like what would they enjoy kind of thing. So we still kept the basics and we did a wee bit of punching, kicking, but just try to adapt some games. We'd do you all done it, we'd do the go find the game, like where it'd be red or blue or green, and then you introduce your Japanese colours into that to have that little karate element. Sometimes play helicopter, and in class we'd have the belt and swing the belt around, and you need to jump over the belt. Online, I use my boken, I use stick, and then they need to duck and jump in the same kind of idea, you know, trying not to hit the lampshade. So that was the
or kick the wall.
Yeah, kick the wall. But it was also just getting parents involved and getting family involved. That was something that I felt made a massive difference to my kids' classes. So I was teaching last night, and I was like, "Oh, go get a mum or dad, brother, sister, granny, granda, whoever's looking after you, and teach them how to do a punch, showing them how to make the fists and the thumbs, and just generally thinking out the box." That's something for me as an instructor is really, I feel as if I've raised my game for teaching in terms of thinking outside the box, creating new drills, and relaying that online so they're still getting a good and fun class. I didn't go to such extent as what Liam did. Liam had these very fun ninja hero. What was it? Superhero Saturdays, was it?
So here's what I did.
I like his face. I like the face he's putting right now.
Because I feel like I'm getting some sort of traumatic flashback. So, we got a green screen up. We've got it up just now. It's just so you can't see the state. If those are on YouTube, you can't see the state of our houses. And I had the green screen up, and what I would do is that we'd have the classes. I've got a husband and wife team that kind of bubbled and helped teach the kind of kids classes. Poor Jim dresses up as Yoshi the Ninja, which is a giant mascot.
Can't tell anybody.
If there's a 4-year-old listening to this, the parents need to get a sort but they did that, so we kind of bubbled as an instructor team through most of the lockdown. And one day they'd be in Tokyo, next day they'd be in New York, next day. So and still the kids were logging off. They were slowly, and at one point, one of the lowest points of my instructor's career, I was dressed up. In fact, there's three indications, but this is the worst. I was dressed up as a giant inflatable dinosaur chasing around a 7-foot ninja mascot.
And that was Friday night.
Can you not put a picture up here somewhere or something?
Yeah. Here? It was like, what has my life become? What am I doing with my life? This is. We did the superhero Saturdays, and I dressed up as. Oh God! I dressed up as Batman and Spider-Man, and for the record, I bought them for the event. I didn't have those. I did not have those outfits before. I just want to stress that.
In the top drawer, yeah.
We all know that's not true. That Liam runs about as a dinosaur and Spider-Man and shooting.
Let's see in a lockdown. I'll be doing that. They'll be chasing me around with a butterfly net if we get another lockdown. This guy's running about dressed as Tyrannosaurus, inflatable Tyrannosaurus Rex. But at that point, I went, maybe this isn't working. I mean, I think one of the problems I had, I think Sean's parents maybe clicked in better, maybe he ran the session slightly better, or maybe very much better, is that I found that certainly towards the end of the first lockdown, and certainly this lockdown 2, the revenge of the lockdown, the parents were at the stage then where they were throwing the children in the room and locking the door and running.
Yeah.
So, and there's no criticism there, I totally understand. You love your children, but... so the kids were kind of wandering in. I remember one of the courses we ran between the three of us, Sean, you had a young girl who was lovely, for the record. She was like a lovely young lass, but there was like 150 people on, and I was teaching. It was my turn to teach that week, and in the top left-hand corner, she was doing somersaults.
I know who you're talking about.
So I'm teaching this class, and all I could see is this young lady just doing somersaults across the room, and I went, maybe I'm not engaging with her. Maybe I'm. But
You went in a dinosaur suit is the problem for her.
I mean, I should have done that course in a dinosaur suit. That was not that getting credibility anyway, but the credibility then would have been destroyed.
That was. I think that for the younger ones, for me, when it was during the first lockdown, there was the initial let's go into Zoom. Everybody was doing it together, and obviously as the weeks go by and as the classes go by, and more so, I think recently in this second lockdown, I think it's been tougher because we've been in winter, so it's not as a lot of people can't just go out for a walk. Excuse me. So yeah, during the last one, we're in summer. Once we start doing outdoor classes as well, the kind of Zoom classes have kind of dropped off a little bit for me anyway. But we're back indoors in a few weeks for us, and obviously, Mark, you were back indoors yesterday. How does it feel to get kind of back indoors?
Weird.
Again,
just weird. Amazing. I mean, it's just great to have students back. But for us, we can only have the under 18s at the moment. So my over 18 members, they're still online. We're streaming from the dojo. Again, they're doing an amazing job. I know it's tough for everyone, for them, but yeah, for my younger ones, it was great. We had loads of new trialists coming in, and I had a chat with a parent yesterday, and it was actually one of the parents that said to me that their son or daughter is struggling with motivation, and you could see yesterday them being back in that environment that it was just completely different person altogether, different from that student that I've been seeing over on the screen for the last 3.5 months. They were just elevated, and they were loving it. And to be fair, I mean, I was exhausted. I'd done 3 hours last night. I was knackered after the whole thing. It was just so much going on. People wanted to speak to you and this, that, the other, but it's just a great buzz. And I know you boys are just a couple of weeks away from your one. I mean, what have you got in place? Are you ready for it? What?
So for me, it was trying to find venues. I teach in mostly kind of Glasgow club venues or kind of Glasgow council run venues. So they are opening, but for their own classes, so it was hard to try to find an indoor venue. And luckily I teach in a community centre for one of my venues, so they were open. The last lockdown we managed to hire a bowling hall, and we had so used to that bowling hall, so it was great because their season's finished. So we got a set of mats. The fundraising committee very kindly got a set of mats, and we had some kick bags, and we just ran classes from there. And slowly the other venues started to open. Same again this time. We've hired an indoor bowling hall this time because their season's finished and they all went outdoor. So we'll just put the mats down, and over the next few weeks, just getting the rest of the venues ready, and you've got kind of your hand sanitizers in place and your antibacterial wipes. The booking systems are in now. Getting all the booking in. The bookings are coming in from the students just to make sure they're getting their classes, and it's just making sure that we can get back to some sort of normality and keep that kind of level of kind of enthusiasm that the guys have kept during lockdown. Just coming back, as you said, Mark, it'd be great for all the kind of students to get back to that face-to-face teaching again, and I'm looking forward to it. It's 2 weeks for us for under 18s and May the 17th for everybody, I think, as well. Is that right?
Have you got your dinosaur outfit ready, Sean? Then have you? Or?
No, I've got a Ninja Turtle outfit.
To be honest, I don't think I need a dinosaur outfit anymore. I just am a dinosaur now. I think kind of the same. We're kind of prepping. It's again, I was lucky. Obviously, I've got a dojo. I've got my own full-time venue in one area, but we've got 5-6 satellite clubs, and trying to get them reopened has been really difficult. The exact same reasons that Sean has said. Yeah. The ones that are run by the local authorities are, for whatever reasons, and I'm sure they've got more important things to worry about, aren't reopening for kind of private lets, certainly early on. I mean, I'm sure it will come back. They need the revenue. But we've had to relocate. We're in one venue for almost 10 years, and we've had to relocate for the first time. That's worrying because we're very much a community-based club, and where we were based, it was members of the community. It was walking distance. It was a nice wee area we were in. It was perfect. And we've had to go to literally the other side of the town. Now, my kind of hardcore guys will travel no problem, but maybe maybe others that maybe don't have public transport might have that an issue. But the positives are there seems to be a lot of desire in that new area for people to want to join the club. So the great complaint I've got at the moment is I'm inundated with inquiries for reopening, and I think we've all got the same kind of problem. There's this kind of backlog and desire for people. I think people have seen what we have done in our clubs in our respective areas, and obviously we're all quite vocal on kind of social media and stuff regarding our clubs, etc. I think because that's what we do, you know. And I think that's created a kind of desire to join our clubs, and I have just been. This week has been insane. I mean, I'm not saying, "Oh, look at me." I just mean it's like I can't keep up, and the problem we have is because of the social distancing issues and obviously the class sizes, which I agree with. By the way, I'm not going into an attack on that. The problem I'm facing now is can I get enough bodies in, run enough sessions to maintain the club from a business perspective, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So there's other challenges coming through with that. I mean, if you're running a club just as a voluntary thing, you don't have that concern. You're just delighted to be open. But that's certainly something we're all dealing with. I've got two instructors that kind of run clubs underneath me, and they've had the similar issues as well. But we're getting there. We're getting venues sorted now. But we're looking forward to getting back. My actual membership's champing at the bit.
Yeah.
But so yeah.
I'm just going to apologise, guys, that someone's just decided they're going to cut a tree down. So you can probably hear a chainsaw in the background.
I just assumed it was Abby, mate. I thought Abby just decided.
You'll probably hear my 2-year-old and 12-year-old upstairs rolling.
I have nobody. Nobody loves me. Nobody likes me. Everybody's likes me.
That's why we're here.
That's it. You're my support structure. How the hell did I make it through?
That is something that has been good though. Is obviously we've been friends and competed against each other, graded with against each other for 15, 16 years, I think, maybe more. Liam for ourselves, but it's been awesome. Been kind of coming together as well and doing obviously something like this, but having some ideas to bounce off. And as Mark said, I've got a supportive wife as well, and it's great. But it's good to kind of bounce it off somebody that's kind of similar minded as well. So it has been awesome being able to kind of chat to each other, and we do.
I'd like to hope the karate community or the martial arts community as a whole has kind of got a bit closer in that respect, because it does get quite cliquey, doesn't it? You know, if you don't have the same badge, you can't talk to each other.
Yeah.
If you're within a 3-mile radius of each other, you have to hate each other. Do you know what I mean? And but I think this is kind of unified a lot of kind of groups and galvanized us all for going forwards. I'm quite, I don't know about you guys, but I'm quite, although I've kind of stated negatives there, the things that I stated there, these are great problems to have.
Yeah.
If you'd a year ago, I'd been delighted to have these problems, but I think
I agree.
I mean, sorry, butting there, boys. I mean, for me, we've done this terrible lockdown, everything like that. But like yesterday being my first session back, and seeing the positives from the parents and the students, and we got the Olympics, coming in this year. Karate's in the Olympics, and that's going to be a big boost for the karate. Parents going to be watching and saying, "Oh, I want my kid to be doing that," so they're going to be looking for the local clubs, and that's really going to boost karate, not just all associations, boost it up. This is something that's positive to look forward to, and probably to all instructors that have been doing online, you've done an amazing job, and just keep going. We're getting through the mists of it all, and it's just got that last hurdle, and good things to come.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think you're right with the Olympics as well coming in. I know there's certain people maybe listening or watching that are gritting their teeth. They kind of, the instructors themselves that are dead against that. And I do get that point. I understand where they're coming from. But that's the great thing about karate. It is diversity in its approaches. I know People are in different camps about it, but I think you're right. Everybody, regardless how you teach karate, whether from a traditional aspect or from a sporting aspect, is going to benefit, hopefully, from how the Olympics are. Although there's a lot of negativity around the Olympics in Japan at the moment. Obviously, we can't travel to go and watch it. But I'm hoping, if anybody can make a spectacle out of karate, it's Japan. So, yeah, I think that's going to be a big positive. And I'm looking forward to us having kind of watching that over, I think it's 99 days now until the Olympics.
Yes, yeah.
Was it 2 o'clock in the morning?
How long it is till the karate is in. I think it's going to be in and it's out again because it's not been picked up for Paris, which is a bit frustrating.
I think you're right. I think by whether you support the Olympics or karate being Olympics or not, as Mark said, you're watching. You're just going to pick your closest karate club, whether they do kind of Olympic karate or not. So. But another kind of positive I feel from the online stuff is, and Layla, my daughter, she loves competing. Being able to train with anybody around the world has been awesome. She's trained with some top karate, Angelica Torligi and Junior Lefebvre, Jordan Thomas, a kind of British instructor, British karateka as well. So, and being able to do that, and we've had obviously from our kind of association amazing support from Japan and trained with some of the best kind of Japanese instructors there is. So it's been awesome in terms of that, for us anyway, for competitors and for those guys that love to train.
Yeah, I think you're right. But I think that's something that may carry on as well. I mean, I would certainly, obviously we've got the TV rig at the dojo now, so I would use that to stream a course with, and kind of use that to kind of, if somebody was running a course, I would have my guys in and I would have them training with that person. So. Yeah, I think that's a very fair point. What do you think, Mark?
I think online karate is great. Some people will obviously say other, but for me personally, I've learned so much from training with the Japanese on these online courses from other instructors that I've trained with, and people could argue, say, "Oh, you don't learn anything from online sessions." I completely disagree. You definitely learn from online karate. Online karate, whether you're actually doing it or you're just watching it on your phone because you're in the car or something, you pick up so much. And I personally have learned so much. Some of my students come up and said to me, I feel better about doing this kata and this and this and this. And I think that online karate should definitely stay. Obviously do the training face-to-face sessions, but online karate in the background should be definitely something that they keep, because you do learn a lot from them.
Yeah,
a lot.
I was just saying, I mean, you don't need, with things being the way they are with travelling, etc. You can't necessarily travel. Pardon, I've got a pop up here. We don't know how the travel is going to work. So normally, I've been to Japan a few times in the last few years. I can't do that just now for obvious reasons. But as Sean said, we're still getting access to the instructors from over there. And you're able to train like from outside your association as well. A lot of the associations have opened up, whereas the nature of what associations is, these are our instructors. And to be honest, but sometimes agree with this. These are instructors you want to train when you need to join. Whereas it's been a bit more open. Yeah. So you're getting a bit more diversity and seeing some different perspectives and different kind of thought processes on karate, how it's taught, how it's people's vision on it, people's ideology on it. That's been quite refreshing. And I've watched a lot of podcasts, which is one of the reasons we're doing this, isn't it, boys?
Well, hopefully a lot of people watch this one as well.
No chance. They'll log off like 2 minutes in. It's just us talking at this point.
As long as we share my TikTok video and you in a dinosaur outfit, they'll come back. Don't worry.
No, they won't. That will definitely all finish us. What's left of the career is done. But yeah, I think that's all been quite positive, and I hope that continues forwards. I hope that doesn't. Nothing beats traveling and training, but sometimes people don't have the money, some people don't have the time, some people don't have and that maybe gives us all a bit more of a chance to keep that going. So yeah, I think you're right. That's a positive.
Perfect, brilliant. Well, I think
boys, will we call it quits there for our first one?
Yeah, I think that went quite well. Definitely went quite well.
Right, guys. Well, we think so. We're not the important one. So that we're going to kind of call it quits there, guys. So everybody that's listening or watching, I'm sure it was very unprofessional and it was awful. But give us it's our first shot at it. So I'd like you to know that we've heavily edited ourselves. We're usually much less respectful when we talk to each other, and I think probably as we get more comfortable doing this, that veneer may slip. We're going to try and do one of these kind of one a week. We're going, as I said, we've got interviews lined up. We're going to do all sorts of fun stuff. You can pick topics. You can tell us what you'd like us to chat about or something you'd like us to talk to. If you'd like to get involved in this, have a wee chat with us or conversation. Don't be shy. I know people are not necessarily good at self-promotion. Just we'd be delighted to chat to people and have you join the kind of panel and have your say on the kind of topic. So today was just kind of our introduction, isn't it? Yeah, just kind of who we are, what we're about. We hope you've had fun. If you have had fun, please like and subscribe on the YouTube channel and on the Facebook page. We are on Spotify as well. We're going live on Spotify. Sean's, do you like that? I'm on the wrong side there.
Can you also put
whatever. So if you're on the if you're on the
link on here as well, where you can buy that dinosaur outfit as well.
Yeah, that's I'm going to wear it for one of these. If we get enough subscribers, I will do this YouTube video as an inflatable dinosaur.
That'll be hilarious, please.
I have no self-respect left anyway. So. Yeah, my self-respect is gone. So thank you everyone for listening and persevering with us. Thank you massively to my best buds Sean and Mark for getting involved in this. And take care, and we'll see and speak to you next time. All right. So
thanks very much, guys. Have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye now. And that says out in 3, 2, 1.